I've opened the tilt-up construction sample file to explore a modeling technique that relies heavily on alignment. It will bring together much of what you've learned in this section. With tilt-up construction, you create sketches of elevations in the top viewport and extrude them to create separate 3D objects of your walls. Then you tilt them up and align them into position to create a 3D model of a building. My thanks go to Ted Boardman for pioneering this powerful technique. Let's begin by minimizing the viewport. I'll press Alt-W. And then I'll select these two long wall objects, which ultimately will go on either side of this floor surface. Then I'll right-click in the front viewport to activate it. Go to the Alignment flyout and choose the last button. This is View Align, and observe its icon is representing the 4 viewports. What this does is it aligns the local z-axis of the objects to the z-axis in screen coordinates of the viewport. You can align y or x, but in most cases you'll want to align to the z-axis. Note that you can also flip that upside down if you need to. I'll click OK, and we've tilted up these two walls. Let's do that same thing for these other walls. I'll select them, but this time I'll right-click in the left viewport. You see, it's important that you select the correct viewport prior to using View Align. Now I'll click View Align, and the objects are tilted up, but this time in a different direction, because they're oriented to the screen coordinates of the left viewport. I'll click OK. Now we've successfully tilted up the walls, but there's more to do. I'll maximize the viewport. The next step is to center all of the walls on the floor. That will make it easier to move the walls to their respective edges. I'll select all 4 walls and press Shift-A for Quick Align. Then I'll click on the floor to quickly move all of those objects to its center point. The next thing we could do is move the walls up so that they're resting on the floor. And for that we need the formal Align tool. Press Alt-A and then click on the floor to target it. We need to use the Z position and choose the minimum of the current objects and align that with the maximum of the floor. Now the walls are properly located on top of the floor. The final step involves moving each wall to its respective edge, and you could do that with Snap, but Align might be more efficient. I'll select this wall and align it to the floor. I need to move it this way or that way, which is the Y direction. And I need to do the same thing for this wall. But this time, I want it on the opposite edge of the floor. So I need to toggle maximum and minimum. Now I need to do the same thing for these short segments. Alt-A, click on the floor. This time we're dealing with the X direction. I'll select this final wall as the source and align it to the floor. And notice that if it's going on the wrong edge, what you can do is choose the opposite radio buttons. Think of it as a diagonal opposition. And that will move the object to the opposite edge of the floor.